confronted during this interview about some past statements he made about Atlanta, and things get heated. This conversation between Wack 100 and Loon on the It's Up There podcast was like a chess match, a battle between two people who know how to manipulate the narrative in their favor at a very high level. And what we witnessed was both people trying to manipulate the narrative in their favor, but they're doing it against each other. And I feel like both these dudes, they had their moment during this interview, but one person came up on top, and we'll discuss who that is towards the very end. Wack started off doing something that most people wouldn't have caught on. And so shout out to Loon, because Loon caught this. Most people wouldn't have caught this until it's too late. But Wack started off by going at media personalities in Atlanta while sitting in front of somebody who represents the media in Atlanta, which is Loon, right? So Wack starts off by going off on media personalities in Atlanta for giving soft interviews to 21 Savage and Young Thug and other Atlanta rappers who've been accused of snitching. Wack started off by bringing up Big Bang. Now, the reason why Loon caught on as fast as he did is because Loon also gave soft interviews to 21 Savage and Young Thug, right? Or to Young Thug. So if Wack 100 is criticizing or critiquing Big Bang for not really keeping the street or not really being thorough with how he interviewed Young Thug, then that essentially would be a diss towards Loon, because Loon arguably gave a softer interview to Young Thug than Big Bang did. And I feel like when Wack brought this up, most people wouldn't have caught on until Wack is already around the circle and they already spun. But
this is absolutely barnacles, man. The Wack 100 situation just continues.
Caught this very early.
Matter of fact, let's get it on.
I knew what I was doing and what direction I was headed in, right? I caught ridicule with that, right? Now, I stood on my square. You know, Lou, when you choose to do something, you choose to do it.
Yes.
Now, years later, I look up, and Big Bang is on the internet saying, somebody tag 6ix9ine, tell him I need the interview. I never did it. I got the call from academics.
Yeah.
Wack, I'm gonna ask you something you probably gonna deny me. Will you sit down and interview 6ix9ine? Because everybody else, he's running circles around him, but he ain't talking to no real street dudes, right? I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. And even after we did it, 6ix9ine and Ad called me and they said, hey, bro, the fact that you showed up to the interview humble, you didn't have a bunch of dudes, you wasn't trying to do nothing to him, we are willing to not put this interview out because the little snippet we put out, they eating you up. What you want us to do? I told them, drop it.
Stood on it.
So now I'm looking at all these other dudes.
Yeah.
And I'm saying,
chasing 6ix9ine down.
But it's a good thing because you know what it is? They have realized in they jungle, it's a lot of people been exposed that they don't want to handle.
Wack is saying a whole bunch of absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Like, we hear you, but let's fast forward you, because who actually cares about the lies you're telling?
Now,
I don't know that Bang is handling.
The reply to Loon saying, man, I don't think Big Bang is going soft that got censored, was Wack saying BS, bullish. Wack is saying Big Bang went soft on Young Thug and others. Now, this interview was filmed before Big Bang did the 6ix9ine interview, which was like months ago. Now, obviously, we now know the result of that interview, and it didn't go well for Big Bang at all, because 6ix9ine kind of came in and he reiterated the very same thing that Wack is saying right now, which is y'all pick and choose, right? Y'all are hypocrites. And 6ix9ine kind of poke holes in it. I feel like even though it was really, really, really bad for Big Bang, I don't think it was as bad for Big Bang because a lot of us got love for Big Bang. We think Big Bang is dope. So the backlash that Big Bang would have probably gotten, or how embarrassing that moment would have been, was not as embarrassing, but it was still wildly embarrassing for Big Bang because everybody on the internet, including 6ix9ine haters, had to say, yo, 6ix9ine kind of walked him down. 6ix9ine even got his famous catchphrase from that interview, walk him down. Me personally, I just think that all Atlanta podcasters or media personalities should just ignore or avoid this conversation at all costs. Now,
so basically he's telling you to do exactly what you guys do when it comes to Wack 100. Just avoid. You feel me? Just avoid, avoid, avoid. Because when it comes down to the whole 1-2 step like Sierra, everybody just pretty much acts like they don't see it. They act like they don't know about it. So Flakko's an expert on it. So he's telling you guys to avoid it the exact same way. Basically.
Loon has tried this in the past because Loon even told Charleston, hey, I'm not talking about this. To me, that's the right thing to do. Because when you're forced to talk about it and you know you got to stay in Atlanta, you love the relationships you have with these rappers. You're not about to sit here and call a spade a spade. You're not about to sit here and tell the truth, because why would you? Like, why would you? So now you're forced to kind of defend something that's indefensible, and you're forced to essentially defend something that you don't believe in. So now you just sound contradictory. It sounds disingenuous. It don't sound believable, and you ultimately look bad defending something that you know you shouldn't be defending, right? But I think Loon, out of everybody, including Big Bang, did the best job at defending Thug, defending Savage, and defending Atlanta rappers.
Listen, Bank really come from it. Let's talk about it. Thug, my guy.
But it's really hard to hear this from Wack, especially now in terms of Wack not, speaking truthfully about his situation with the Atlanta guys, i.e. Future. And then now we're listening to Flakko talk about something that has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that Wack is actually all over Big U's federal indictment, and that's the really hot topic of the day. So I guess this is, Flakko just kind of helping Wack, I guess for lack of better words, like kind of, sway public opinion, kind of move the goalposts or move the spotlight off of what he has going on onto this conversation. But Flakko, man, it would have been pretty admirable of you for you to actually speak about what the people want you to speak about, which is in fact Wack 100 speaking too much about the Future situation and Big U now being charged with it. You're bringing up this conversation with this guy Loon, who, no disrespect to this guy, but what does he even know about cameras? If you know about that Kanye West, Lady Gaga Polaroid little snippet, if you ever bored, just Google Kanye West, Lady Gaga Polaroid, you'll laugh. But yeah, man, it seems like it's just kind of a lot to do about nothing, and it just doesn't help the public perception that whenever Wack has something going on, Flakko will be one of the people to, not necessarily, speak about the real, speak about the truth. And when it comes to these situations and it comes to all this 1-2 step like Sierra, you just have to really pay attention to the fact that Flakko is on the pulse of hip hop media, on the pulse of what's going on in our galaxy, in our universe. But for some reason, the situation with Wack 100 just doesn't seem to fit the necessity of a hot topic or, a relatable topic to what's going on. Now, I'm not sure why he's going about it like that, but I don't know, man. I don't really know. What I do know is this. Wack 100 is 100% Flu Flammers, Skullduggerous, and Larcenies. And he is named multiple times in the Big U indictment. And for whatever reason, a lot of the bigger West Coast platforms don't want to talk about it. They don't want to discuss it. It is what it is. But with that all being said, if you want to hear Wack and Flakko talk about this nothing for the rest of the time, red dots to the left, the rest. Say a prayer and be blessed. We go.
Yeah, well, I can't have no Thug slander.
No, listen, Thug didn't more for me than probably what he did for you.